Hi, my name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment channel, and it's harvest day today. And before our harvest I thought I'd just give you a quick skim round the back and the front and the side gardens at home. This is our kitchen garden and it's our objective actually to be self-sufficient from this garden come about June time, but we're not quite there, but it's given us a fantastic harvest. We're really happy with it. It looks lovely, and I've got to say it's just been a fantastic investment. I think actually just from the harvest we're going to do from here today will almost cover the cost of putting in the new raised beds that we did in February. So with that, let's get on and have a look round. I've got to say I am so pleased with the progress in the garden, and it's quite amazing how the growth rates compare here with the growth rates on the allotment. Much faster here, and the plants are so much healthier. I mean, it's partly because these are new beds, but it's partly just because it's more sheltered here from the wind. You can see there's a little bit of wind today, but it's also just so much easier to apply the correct amount of water. Anyway, I'm just about to harvest, so I'm just going to show you. These are some of the lettuce beds, and those spring onions are really romping away now. These are Navara lettuce, as are these. Really beautiful lettuces. And I'm harvesting these cut and come again, so I'm just taking the outer leaves off and then leaving the lettuces to regrow. And just look at this spinach. This won't last long though. We've been harvesting this for a while, but the trouble is the spinach, it just bolts so quickly at this time of year, so we switch over to New Zealand spinach, and these are sprouts that I grow for the leaves, and I interplanted these with radishes. They're pretty good. No thinning required, clumps of 3 or 4. Just harvest as a bunch, and these are Tessie interplanted with Grenoble Red, and this is the same bed basically of this is Cantarix interplanted with Grenoble Red, again with a spring onion interplant, and an amazing green oak leaf again with Tessie and Cantarix, and then more radishes. And this is a kale, dazzling blue. This is one of my shadiest spots in the garden, and you can see that because these radish are got a lot less leaf growth on them, but a lot of green fly. So it'll be good to get those out. And this is a new bed which was planted just straight on top of this lawn. Was built rather straight on top of this lawn, and it gets a lot of shade, so I basically just did an experimental plant to see what grew, and peas grow really well. These are just peas for shoots. This is the second crop, and there's a little bit of grass growing through here from underneath, even though I put quite a thick mulch of cardboard under. And these are peas, dwarf peas. They've grown pretty big for pods, so they grow pretty well. And this is lamb's lettuce interplanted with spring onions, and that's ready. Well, it's past ready really for harvest now, but that's grown specifically for smoothies, so that all needs harvesting before it sets seed. But it's looking pretty nice. And then this is Oregon sugar pod, a mulched pea, and then beetroot. This is underneath netting because the birds just peck around in here, disrupting these plants, looking for worms. And this is garlic. I only planted this in February, from just a few cloves that we'd got sort of just starting to sprout. So it's a good use for it. Just grown for green garlic, just to see us over until the main crop garlic is ready next month. So we'll probably start harvesting that this week actually. And then the kale bed is looking great. These are such tiny plants when I did the video last month, but they're all, we've started harvesting them now. Just one leaf from each plant every few days. Perennial kales at the back and here. But yeah, they're just looking fantastic at the moment. And lots of people comment, you know, no nets. Well, it's in the back garden, so nets would look really ugly. But we're mitigating that by just keeping an eye on the plants. And if we see any caterpillars, then we'll spray with BT. And then this is my last planting of spinach matador. And then the blueberries, these are coming on beautifully. Very happy with those. I just put them into these bigger pots this year, so slightly less potatoes. I'm really pleased with the progress on them. Really nice crop. And these are the strawberries. It's just amazing how strawberries just really spring to life. They just look so dead in the last video. Very happy. And same with the raspberries along the back wall. Our aspiration really to be pretty much self-sufficient from the back garden through summer, and we're getting close. Got potatoes here, potatoes over the back there. Fabulous crop of cherries on this tree. It's in its second year, I think, and it really is growing well. And we might end up netting this for a short period of time, because although we've got quite a lot of cats around here, we do still have some loss to the birds. Nearly there with the raspberries, in flower soon. And it's nice to see this grapevine. It's looking nice and healthy along the wall. This is an eating variety, quite good in fruit salads. And the second cherry tree, nowhere near as good a crop. This one is normally an amazing cropper, but this year it's just having a bit of a rest. It served us so well, we don't mind. The last few of our overwintered carrots, these have almost all gone to seed now. You can see with the big thick stems. But we have new carrots now on the allotment, so not to worry. I just prepared these containers. These are for the outdoor tomatoes. So we'll be planting those soon. Well, not soon actually, in about 2 or 3 weeks. So all of our early potatoes are finished now. They're just waiting to be harvested as and when required. I think we've got 4 tubs left on the allotment, and then these are basically planted in succession. Down here, another succession here, and then these are the main crop, Salpomiras, and these are the main crop, King Edwards. And we've also got early baking potatoes on the allotment as well, so they should be ready in July. So we've got a nice succession of potatoes. This end here has just flowered, so they'll be ready in a few weeks, just in time for when we run out of the early ones that we grew in the polytunnel. I do like potatoes. They're just so lush. And then these are my outdoor French and runner beans in the little tents. These are going to need to be wrapped in fleece tonight because there's quite a bad wind chill coming. And this is going to be a climbing squash. The plants are actually in there, but they're growing okay in the little tent, but there's not much to look at. And then down the side of the house, another fantastic crop of cherries. One of my very noisy cats wanting to come in. And I did a video specifically on these trees, so I won't dwell on them, but got a lovely little apple tree that I grafted last year. And the wind's getting up now and it's really chilly. But another fantastic crop. Cherries have just been amazing so far this year. Really, really happy with them. And then this is a pear tree. Again, really good fruit set on this pear tree. This is a William. And now we're in the front garden, getting some lovely growth on these kales. Very pleased with these. And then onions all the way around. Sid's more interested than you are probably. But, these are red onions grown from sets, and then there's a spring onion interplant as well. Very pleased with those. And then going to be runner beans and French beans on these. That would be for another 4 weeks. And then 3 courgettes there. And then there's going to be a trumpuccino squash in here. And then lots of interplants wherever there's a gap, and there's lots of little gaps around here with things like golden beetroot, perpetual spinach, chard, and the odd kales, dwarf kales, things like that. So that's the front garden. And then very quickly, I'll just take a look in the conservatory. The grow lights come on early in the morning, and they just give this a little bit of top light. Otherwise it's always getting light from just one side. It just helps to stop the plants getting leggy. So these are my outdoor tomatoes. And these are Crown Prince squash. These are a test sowing that I did 2 weeks earlier than my main crop, to make sure that the seeds were going to germinate, and of course they all did, and so I've got all these massive squash plants now, which Debbie wouldn't let me compost, so they're all potted on into these massive pots. So I might do an early plant of these in a few days' time and see if they survive under fleece. Some more of my outdoor tomatoes, New Zealand spinach, cucamelons, golden purslane, red geraniums, and then these are my big pepper plants and some more tomato plants. And these are my early tomato plants, and they're pretty big now. Some of them are bigger than me. 1, 2, 3, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 trusses on these. I top them off soon, take the growing tip out, just to let these early trusses mature as quickly as possible. And so by the time I've finished with these plants, harvesting from these plants, there's 3 of them, I should have tomatoes in the polytunnel. And then this is one of my early cucumber plants, and hopefully it's the same story when these cucumber plants are finished. And we've been harvesting these now for 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks. We should have cucumbers in the polytunnel. Got another plant here. We just harvested this one yesterday. It's looking okay. There's plenty of cucumbers on it. Just keep harvesting, just keep giving. And my main crop, sweet corn. I'm starting to harden this off a little bit now. It's going pretty well. I'm quite happy with it. It's going to get planted out in probably 2 weeks' time. And that's a nice succession from my early sweet corn. I've got 2 successions of that. One's in the polytunnel and one's in a cold frame. It's almost outgrown the cold frame now, but the cold frame's kind of done its job. It's hardened it off and it's protected it from this cold snap. Some more of my tomatoes. Coming on quite nicely. I'll let him in. These are my biggest peppers. Just waiting on the end of this cold snap before they're planted out. There's quite a few fruits on these now. So, I hope you like this quick video. My name's Steve. This is the Seaside Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.